The movie opens with the OSS department going after a criminal named TikTok after he purchases a stolen OSS minidisc. Using the time bomb, TikTok freezes the OSS team going after him and attempts to escape. But Marissa, who is already 9 months pregnant, follows him against her boss's warning since she'll be giving birth in 5 minutes. She slings into her car quickly and starts the chase. First, she calls her husband, Wilbur, who doesn't know she's a spy, and tells him to meet her at the hospital while preventing him from knowing what she's doing. Meanwhile, TikTok drops some spikes on the road to cut her off, but she manages to evade them with the help of her car and later fires a missile at him, after which she goes ahead without backup to capture him. Marissa's superior, Danger, soon arrives with backup, and TikTok is handcuffed. Danger shows Marissa the content of the minidisc. It contains information on a project referred to as Armageddon, which could be used as a weapon of mass destruction if it gets into the wrong hands. An ambulance soon comes to take Marissa to the hospital. At the hospital, Marissa's stepkids place a bet on if Marissa would come late or early. She comes late, and Rebecca wins while her twin brother, Cecil, loses. Kids are the main part of our movie for today, which is an action comedy from 2011, Spy Kids 4, All the Time in the World. Don't forget to subscribe for more recaps like this. Now let's continue with the story. After giving birth, Marissa retires as a spy and completely keeps her spy career secret from her family. Wilbur also launches a new reality show called Spy Hunter, and they name the baby Maria. A year later, the family starts living in Marissa's house. One morning, the twins ask their father to eat breakfast with them, but he finds out that he doesn't have time and wonders where the time went. So he plans a 5-year program with the kids, such that if his reality show becomes successful, he will spend all the time in the world with them. Then he leaves for work and asks them to feed the dogs. Cecil doesn't know why, but the dog doesn't eat. It just watches them. At the OSS headquarters, Danger announces that he notices time is speeding up. Earlier, it was 2 p.m. Now it's 5 p.m., which makes it look like the Armageddon device has been activated. In no time, it gets dark and Wilbur returns home to his family. It turns out that Rebecca doesn't like Marissa, and she plays a lot of pranks on her because she has a feeling that Marissa is hiding something from them. Marissa goes that evening to make it up to her by giving her a red sapphire necklace and claims it's a special piece of jewelry given to her by her mother. As Marissa attempts to leave the room, she runs into another prank and gets angry. Then she goes to meet Wilbur. Just then, they see a piece of news that announces that time is running out in the world. It all started from losing nanoseconds, and now they're losing days. A man who calls himself the Timekeeper later claims responsibility for speeding up time, and also claims he has found everyone in the world guilty of wasting time on unimportant things rather than spending time on their loved ones. So he wants to unleash Project Armageddon on mankind as a punishment. There is only one way to stop this menace. An element called the Chronos Sapphire can deactivate the Armageddon device, but now the Timekeeper wants to get the Chronos Sapphire so that nobody will be able to stop him. Since the Chronos Sapphire is with the OSS, precisely in Marissa's custody, she's ordered to take it to the headquarters immediately. But then, it's on the necklace she gave to Rebecca, and since she doesn't have a choice, Marissa goes to ask Rebecca for the necklace, making Rebecca hate her even more. Marissa leaves anxiously after instructing her dog Argonaut to watch them. She also puts the house in armed mode as she leaves in the car with Maria. Meanwhile, Rebecca didn't really give Marissa the necklace. When she gives it back to Danger, it turns out Rebecca had just played another prank on her. But while she tries to go back to get the Chronos Sapphire, Danger tells her the Chronos Sapphire is not important to them for now. He tells her TikTok is on the run again, and she's the only one that can stop him, meaning she's needed back at the OSS. In the meantime, TikTok's men arrive at Marissa's house to go after the Chronos Sapphire on Rebecca's neck. But since the house is now armed, the twins receive an instruction to run into the panic room. Inside the panic room, Marissa reveals to them that she's a spy and that Argonaut is an advanced robot prepared to protect them. Soon, TikTok's men discover the panic room and launch after them. Argonaut then takes the kids to escape in a rocket jet. The attackers refuse to give up. They also follow them on flying machines. But after a while, Cecil manages to get rid of them with puke bags, which he sends flying at the attackers to distract them. After that, Argonaut takes them to the OSS, and Marissa's niece, Carmen, comes in to pick them up. She takes them to the old Spy Kids division, explaining that the division was established for kids to go where adults couldn't go, but has now been shut down for 7 years due to budget cuts. Then she allows them to pick one gadget each. Cecil picks Stompers and Hammerhands, a device that uses electron fields to create superhuman impact force. Rebecca picks field ambush supplies that create booby traps, ambushes, mass confusion, and pranks. However, Carmen doesn't activate it for them and takes them to the agent's lounge to keep them safe. Marissa goes alone with Maria to catch TikTok, but she's ambushed. However, she manages to fight off TikTok's men with the baby powder and the diaper bomb, while TikTok escapes. In the meantime, Rebecca and Cecil plan to get out of the OSS to find the Timekeeper all by themselves. When they're caught by the agents, they run and eventually escape with Argonaut's help. Argonaut later takes them to a room with a teleporting device called the Toot. Cecil discovers that the code on the system that leads to the Timekeeper is an anagram, and they finally find out that he's in a clock shop. So they activate the teleporter to take them to the clock shop. They appear in front of the watch shop before the OSS agents know it. Going in, Rebecca successfully decodes the password to a secret door, and they enter into a giant clock space underground. The nanosecond hand of the clock will cut them in half if they aren't careful. Rebecca drops on the minute hand, and the other two follow while avoiding the nanosecond hand. As they attempt to drop off, Cecil gets caught up by the nanosecond hand, and he's thrown off. In the meantime, Marissa goes to save her kids, while Wilbur and his cameraman prepare to go spy hunting with a spy detector. Cecil and Rebecca later find a computer, and they get information about the Chrono Sapphire as the only element that can stop the Armageddon device. This makes Rebecca fear that they might be after the necklace, and she asks them to run. But TikTok emerges and freezes them before they can escape. He then takes them to the Timekeeper, who asks them to hand over the necklace. Marissa arrives with Carmen at the same time, and she orders Carmen to activate the kids' weapons for them. Cecil then uses his superhuman weapon to fight off Timekeeper's men, while Rebecca uses a laser whip. More men keep coming, and they continue to fight as a family. When Wilbur arrives at the clock shop, his device leads him to a slit beside the building. Suddenly, he and his cameraman are sucked underground into the Timekeeper's hideout. Wilbur then happily covers footage of the spies fighting the Timekeeper's men without getting to know it's his family. In the long run, TikTok uses time flies to steal the necklace from Rebecca while the family tries to escape. When Wilbur reviews the footage with his boss, he's shocked to find out that Marissa has been a spy all along, and in fury, he destroys the tape and consequently gets fired. He ignores Marissa when she shows up to confess it to him, and he leaves angrily. Later, Danger calls a meeting at the OSS department to welcome Junie from retirement to come help them stop the Timekeeper. Junie is Carmen's brother, and they were the first and last of the Spy Kids program. Carmen refuses to let him wear his badge by tossing it into a bin. When the operation begins, the twins are taken back to the agent's lounge, and Danger comes later to commend them on their bravery. As he's about to leave, Rebecca discovers that he has a different watch and also speaks differently. Then, Cecil also discovers that his name is Danger Diamant, which is an anagram for Armageddon. Lastly, with the aid of his hearing aid, Cecil finds out that he's wearing 4 watches all at once and concludes that he's the Timekeeper. Hearing this, Danger locks them up in the lounge and flees, leaving the twins to wonder how the head of the good guys is also the head of the bad guys. So they call Marissa to inform her, but she takes it as one of Rebecca's pranks. But as soon as the agents enter the hideout, Marissa discovers that Rebecca was telling the truth. Immediately, Danger uses the watch he has on him to freeze all the OSS agents at the headquarters, including Marissa and her team. Then, he leaves to continue his mission to get the Armageddon device at the OSS headquarters. Junie is surprised to see that he didn't freeze like the rest, so he immediately calls Cecil and Rebecca to action, claiming that the Spy Kids program has been activated since there are no agents to take on the Timekeeper except them. After that, Junie unfreezes Marissa and Carmen by destroying their badges, and as they attempt to continue in the mission, they walk accidentally into an hourglass and sink in the sand. At the OSS headquarters, Cecil and Rebecca begin to attack the invaders with their Spy Kids weapons, but they are eventually captured by TikTok, who then takes all their weapons from them and takes them captive to the Armageddon device housing. Argonaut then goes to inform Wilbur about his kids being in danger, and he goes to help them immediately. There, Rebecca uses a hidden tool to steal one of Danger's watches. Danger later reveals that the Armageddon device was never meant to stop time or end the world. He says it's actually to travel in time. He then tells them he was the boy who got frozen in time by his father's time travel project in the 1930s. He says he watched his father grow old and eventually die while trying to set him free for the rest of his life. It was the Chronos Sapphire that later helped to shut down the experiment. And now he wants to travel back in time to spend more time with his father. Cecil warns him that he can't actually travel in time because time stays the same. He tells Danger that he's tried to do it several times, but only comes back each time with a worse version of himself. At the same time, Marissa arrives with Carmen and Junie, and the time vortex also opens. Everyone else freezes except Danger and his other versions. Also, since Cecil and Rebecca are holding the Danger's watch, they aren't frozen. TikTok goes after them to get the Chronos Sapphire while Danger walks into the vortex. Cecil manages to hit TikTok and then rejoices, forgetting to hold the watch, so also freezes. TikTok eventually steals the Chronos Sapphire from Rebecca and passes it to Danger in the vortex, causing him to successfully travel back in time to meet his father. Rebecca later touches Cecil with the watch. When Danger comes back, he returns as an old man and tells Cecil he was right, that he can't go back because his father still died. So, with the Chronos Sapphire, Danger deactivates the Armageddon device and unfreezes the world. But TikTok still won't give up, and he's eventually handcuffed by Wilbur. Rebecca becomes fond of Marissa, and she later reactivates the Spy Kids program. Then, Cecil and Rebecca go on to recruit new agents for the program. Thanks for watching. If you fancy more, check out this video now.